Today we're on page 77 in our notebook, so go ahead and pause your video so that you can set up your notebook to look just like mine. This is your warm-up. It says -3 plus x over 3 is less than -4. So this is a two-step, so there are a couple ways that I can do this. I can do this with my do and undo boxes. I could also use that flowchart. Or I can solve it using neither one of those. So after you solve it, you also want to graph it on your number line. Your learning goals is create a one-variable, two-step inequality from a real-world problem. And your language goals is apply the use of inequalities to real-world situations. Alright, I need you to get this half sheet out. And this is an example. It's the only example we're going to do today, so you're going to want to pay really close attention. So it says choose which scenario matches the given inequality. So I'm given this 9x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 50. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. I'm given that, but I have to see, does A, B, or C match that inequality that they've given me? So letter A says Joseph earns $10 an hour at his job and $9 in allowance. He needs no more than $50 to buy the Xbox game he wants and have some money to spare. So I need to highlight the important information. $10 an hour is going to be important, and $9, and then no more than $50. So now I have to write an inequality. So I start off with my total. My total is 50. Remember that the biggest number is your total. No more than tells me that I don't want anything greater than 50. So I want a less than or equal to sign. So then I have to fill in my x, my plus, and then I have these two numbers here. I know in this first one is my rate. I know in this second one is the additional information. So my rate, I always find the word per or each. Well, in this instance, it doesn't tell me per or each. It says $10 an hour, and an is the same thing as per. So $10 an hour is the same thing as saying $10 per hour. So 10 is going to go in my rate. So I've already used 10 and I've already used 50. The only other information is 9, so that goes in my additional information. So I read my equation. It's 10x plus 9 is less than or equal to 50. Then I look back up here and see, does that match? Well, no, it doesn't. So I know A is not the correct scenario. Letter B says Joseph earns $9 an hour at his job and $10 in allowance. He needs at least $50 to buy the Xbox game he wants and has some money to spare. So $9 an hour I need to highlight, and $10, and at least $50. Now I have to write inequality. So I always start with my total, which is 50. My biggest number is always my total. And then the word at least. Well, if I look at my words from yesterday in my notebook, the words at least tell me that I can get more than 50. So I need a greater than. But I also could just get 50, so I need a greater than or equal to. Remember to refer back to your notes from yesterday. So now I've used 50. The only thing that's left is $9 an hour and $10. Remember I said $9 an hour is really similar to saying $9 per hour. So I'm going to put 9x, and then I put plus, and the only thing that's left is $10. So 9x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 50. Does that match my inequality? Let's see, 9x plus 10 greater than or equal to 50. That matches, so let's put a question mark. Make sure that we did our inequality correctly, so we definitely want to double check in our last answer choice. Joseph earns $50 an hour at his job and $10 in allowance. He needs no more than $9 to buy the Xbox game that he wants and have some money to spare. So the first thing I want to do is highlight important information, $50 an hour and 10 and no more than 9. Okay, so $50 an hour. Remember that the word "and" is really similar to the word "per." So I have 50x. The word "and" tells me to add. and no more than. So I don't want to get any more than, so I need a less than or equal to, and 9. So 50x plus 10 is less than or equal to 9. So I'm looking up here, and it does not match that equation. So I know that C is not it. So B has to be my correct answer. Now that I've found the correct answer, I have to solve my problem. So I have to take that equation, which is 9x plus 10 is greater than or equal to 50. And what I want to do is I need to solve for x. So my first thing I do is draw a line through that inequality. I subtract 10 here, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. 10 minus 10 is 0, so those cancel each other out. I bring down this 9x. So 9x is greater than or equal to 50 minus 10, which is 40. And then what I have to do is I have to divide. So I divide by 9. 9 divided by 9, these cancel each other out. I'm left with x is greater than or equal to 40 divided by 9. 9 goes into 40 4 times. 9 times 4 is 36. 40 minus 36 is 4. Put a decimal, add a 0. 9 goes into 40 4 times. And if you notice, this is a repeating decimal. So 4.4. Don't forget to put that line above the 4, because you know that it's repeating. I need you to make sure that you glue these notes into your notebook. And then once you're finished gluing them in, I want you to get started on your scenario match. So this is your practice problems for today. If you notice at the very top of your practice page, it gives you inequalities to choose from. And each problem, each word problem, has a matching inequality at the top. So I want you to first match all of the inequalities and write those in those boxes. And then I want you to raise your hand so that one of us can check it, and then you're going to solve it after that. So go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.